Font styles have their origins in antiquity. Many civilizations invented their own unique aesthetic handwritten scripts in their expressive, harmonious and skillful manner. What is the reason for continuing the tradition of font styles, transferring them to digital and using them in modern design? One of the reasons is a tendency to local production in the context of intense globalization and eco-agenda. Handmade products are also popular as visual imitations of handwork, digital watercolor illustrations, calligraphy, lettering, graphics, and so on. Lettering. One of the pioneers of lettering in mass graphic design was Paula Scher. In 1994, Scher was commissioned to come up with a new corporate identity for a public theater in New York City. During 4 years, she was creating posters, tickets, programs, and all printed materials in general. You can hear more about her history in the Netflix series Abstract Design. Interest to her artworks led to the growth of the theater's popularity, and its signature style began to be copied by other theaters and design productions. Scher was influenced to create an identity for the famous musical Chicago. In addition, in 1994, she came up with posters and other elements of graphic system for the Summer Shakespeare Festival. After that, projects for cultural institutions became her profile. In 2006, she created the image for the Metropolitan Opera, in 2008 for the New York City Ballet, and in 2009 for the New York Philharmonic and MoMA. And all projects are based on typography. The variety of forms in lettering we have at the moment is astounding. Art Nouveau, Deco, Victorian typography, Asian vertical writing. And each of the styles uses its own set of techniques. It uses original characteristic of the calligraphy of a particular country or nation, reflected in the consciousness of a different culture. The Liberty style is an Italian version of Art Nouveau, often met in movie posters. American wooden extruded typeface. In contrast to the Art Nouveau style, the Art Deco style with its alternating thick and thin strokes. The power of the impact of descriptive art is comparable to the visual art. The nature of lettering can convey emotion, aggression, dynamics, care, lightness. The context of application is also wide. Lettering looks great in horeca, coffee houses, chalkboards, labels of beverages. Lettering in the design of the chain of Russian restaurants Teremok. Chalk lettering appeared on TV in the New Year decoration of Russian Channel 1 designer Igor Mustaev. The integration of graphics in the architecture is also notable. Lettering can help with the imitation of a noir film or with the corporate identity of the city park. The space works together with the text. It allows to read between the lines if you put a sign or a symbol in the counter form between the signs. 2D animator Matt Voice created lettering for Ed Sheeran and Lil Baby's Two-Step music video. Matt Voice became famous during the pandemic by posting snack videos of bouncing, undulating, and twisting phrases in social media almost every day. He says, "My style reflects the nostalgia of people born in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. The illustrated font in all TV shows and movies that I watched over and over again as a kid still sits in the back of my mind and serves as a constant reference point." A variety of typographic work is presented in Gaspar Noé's signature style. Now we are increasingly expecting lettering that pushes the boundaries of easy legibility, creating strange, expressive forms. Calligraffiti. Calligraffiti is an artistic style that combines calligraphy, typography, and graffiti. It can be classified as an abstract expressionism or abstract vandalism. The style mixes tradition and modernity characterized for the Middle Eastern culture. For this culture, calligraphy helps to avoid the rigid rules of traditional calligraphy in the Islamic world. Saudi artist Majid Ali Asaf combines Arabic script, typography, and digital art using bold colors reminiscent of Picasso. Pokros Lampas is a Russian artist, one of the most prominent representatives of modern calligraphy in the world. He works with his own alphabet, combining street art, design, and typography with calligraphy of different cultures. By transforming the outdated principles of traditional practice with his giant strokes, Lampas renewed the image of calligraphy over the past few years. In 2015, he set a world record for the largest calligraphic work ever created. His large-scale artwork sprawled on the roof of the Red October factory in Moscow. In 2017, he created the largest calligraphy in Italy. Splatter art or watercolor graphics. Splatter art inherits the characteristics of graffiti culture with its monochrome stencils and the abundance of undertones of paint layered on top of each other. Modern artists working with this style usually use watercolor or acrylic paint or ink. In the credits for Marco Polo, we see the ink wave creeping eastward, like a ridge of dark clouds signaling an impending storm. The most famous representative of the style in the 20th century was the expressionist Jackson Pollock. He popularized the technique of pouring of splashing liquid household paint onto a horizontal surface. It allowed him to view and paint his canvases from all sides. He sprinkled paint from his brushes without touching the surface. This technique later came to be called drip painting or dripping. In the 2000s, a new life to the style was given by Mr. Brainwash. He is a French street artist and one of the main characters of the cult documentary about street art culture, Exit Through the Gift Shop. The common motifs of her acrylic paintings are loneliness, the juxtaposition of a naive, kind world with a harsh reality. She often returns to a well-known mass culture character, placing it into the center of the composition. Splashes of paint are used just as expressive elements that accentuate the composition. The works may contain a wildly cartoonish mix of colorful comic book-style features, images of superheroes, musical artists. Watercolor splashes of paint are one of the oldest techniques in digital motion graphics. It's great for storytelling. That's why it's so often used in the credits of adventure games and movies. The cliché of splatter to represent the characters and the plot is played out in a video by Zenit Football Club. Their YouTube channel played a joke on the number of Brazilian players in the team in a parody of the Latin American series. The associativity of splatter art with blood drops influences the appearance of such graphics in dystopian plots. Titles to Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. Artist Konstantin Kazantsev uses paints that often physically drip onto a painting like blood or tears. This can be seen in the series of works Mickey Mouse Fucks Everybody, where the symbols of a happy childhood unexpectedly find connections with the most terrible things in history and life: death, Nazism, Soviet totalitarianism. Neural network experiments in the field of art allow you to expand the boundaries of perception, giving a charge of inspiration. Examples of works by Margarita Klinovska, a Czech illustrator. The works are made in minimalist technique reminiscent of the Xi style, the genre of traditional Chinese painting. It includes poem, calligraphy, painting, and printmaking. It should be noted that in general the development of animation in the East in the 60s was based, as in other countries, on local art styles. Therefore, guohua became the traditional Chinese technique. It is a term for the technique and style of traditional Chinese painting, which uses mineral and vegetable water paints, ink on silk or rice paper. This is why water-based graphics are so often met in the design of Korean and Chinese movies. The titles for the famous Kim Ki-duk film Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter and Spring. The titles to the film Black Swan, which uses reversed ink movement in the typography and a performance enhanced by 3D graphics.